Two of these shots were filmed on a $300 Canon EOS M setup. Only one was filmed on a $30,000 professional cinema rig. After episode 1, many of you reached the same conclusion. Angle A clearly looks the worst, so obviously it must be one of the EOS M shots. But is it? That is one reason to keep watching. The other is that today we are going to find out how someone actually becomes a master of his craft. Seong Woon did not go to film school with a perfectly mapped out career in cinematography. He studied engineering, a subject he hated, yet somehow went from there to shooting feature films, television, commercials, music videos, and major productions in South Korea. So how did he do it? And what does he now teach his assistants while still demanding the same thing from himself? Let's continue with part 2 of the interview.
Seong, what inspired you to become a cameraman in the first place?
처음에는 제가 저는 공대를 나왔어요. I was a electrical engineer. 그래서 내가 공부는 전기공학과를 나와서 공대를 나왔고, 그 다음에 처음에는 현다이 그룹의 엔지니어링 컴퍼니, 현대 엔지니어링 컴퍼니의 엔지니어로 근무를 했었어요. 근무를 했었는데, 그냥 나하고 안 맞아. 그러니까 적성에 안 맞아서 그 전에 대학 다닐 때, 대학 공부하던 시절에 이제 브로드캐스팅 something 커뮤니케이션 쪽에 일을 하고 싶었었는데 그쪽에 좀 어떻게 뭐가 안 맞아서 못했죠. 근데 그냥 공대 내 전공을 공학을 했으니 공학 쪽으로 이제 잡을 구할 때 취직을 했어요. 그래서 현대 엔지니어링 컴퍼니에 전기 설계하는 이제 디자이너로 들어가서 화학 공장에 이제 엔지니어로 근무를 했는데 한 2년 좀 넘게 다녔어요. 근데 worked about 2 years, but 근데 좀 안 맞아. 안 맞고 재미없어. 그래서 내가 처음에 생각했던 쪽 일을 해야 되겠다라고 싶어서 현대를 그만두고 나와서 이쪽에 처음부터 바닥부터 들어가서 했었죠. 그래서 처음에 들어간 회사가 시네텔 서울이라는 회사. 시네텔 서울 is one of production company of Korea. 거기서 캐머라 어시스턴트부터 시작을 했어요. 그러니까 촬영 조수부터 시작을 해서 이제 그때는 방송 프로그램, 브로드캐스팅 프로그램 촬영하는 거 이제 어시스트 하고 그다음에 이제 뭐 조금씩 이제 다른 장르들 하다가 그다음에 회사를 한번 옮겨서 거기서 이제 홍보 영화나 광고나 뮤직비디오 촬영 같은 걸 많이 하고 그다음에 이제 좀 더 연차가 되다 보니까 이제 프리랜서로 나왔었어요. 1999 프리랜서로 나와서 이제 그때는 어찌됐건 그렇게 해서 이제 하다 보니까 이제 프리랜서로 나와서 일을 하다 보니까 이제 이런 장르 저런 장르에 가리지 않고 프로젝트마다 이제 다른 장르들의 일을 하고 그러다 보니까 이제 다시 경험이 쌓이고 그러다 보니까 이제 영화 쪽에도 오게 되고 그다음에 이제 광고도 많이 이제 찍게 되고 뭐 이렇게 됐었죠.
So it took some time to become to get started and to become confident as a cameraman. How many hours of practice would you say did it take to master the craft?
글쎄. 처음에는 이쪽에 내가 공부하는 시간이 필요했고, 들어가서 전문가한테 배워서 공부하는 시간이 필요했죠. 그 공부하는 시간이 about, 1 year? 한 1년 정도 계속 공부하고, 그 다음에 전문적인 분야를 내가, 습득하고, 뭐 그런 시간이 필요했고, 그 다음에는 내가 캐머라 어시스턴트로 계속 일을 하면서 그 다음에 또 공부를 하는 거죠. 공부를 하는 게 about one 1년에서 1년 반 정도 이렇게 했고, 그 다음에 내가 카메라맨이 딱 돼서 카메라를 딱 잡는 것이 아니고, 차근차근 이 단계를 밟았었죠. 그래서 처음에 이쪽에 할 때는 인터뷰 촬영할 때 이제 내가 카메라를 잡아보고, 그 다음에 할 때는 뭐 조금씩 단계별로 스텝 바이 스텝으로 just 그냥 한 씬 정도, 혹은 그 다음에 선배가 찍는 걸 옆에서 가만히 쳐다보면서 현장에서 계속 이제 현장을 익히고, 그 다음에 내가 배우고, 그 다음에는 내가 또 다른 촬영 감독들, 다른 영화들, 이런 것들을 보면서 계속 내가 이제 공부하는 거죠. 지금도 공부를 해요, 사실은. 그죠? 지금 다른 내가 생소한 카메라 웍이나 좀 특이하게 찍은 촬영 기법이나 이런 것들을 보면서 공부를 하면 이렇게도 어떤 영상의 의미가 전달이 되는구나를 또 느끼면서 또 공부를 하죠. 그래서 이쪽은 어떻게 보면 계속 내가 지금 경력이 많이 쌓여서 좀 고난도의 일을 하기도 하지만, 또 새로운 것들을 또 배우면서 내가 또 따라해보고 또 모방해보고 이러면서 또 점점점 내 어떤 마치 내공을 쌓아가는 듯한 이런 시간이 좀 필요한 것 같아요. 그래서 사실 얼마나 시간이 걸려서 마스터가 됐느냐라기보다는 그냥 계속 공부하고 있다. 지금도 공부하고 있다. 계속 공부하고 있다라는 거죠. 그래서 지금도 아직은 내가 배워가는 과정이다라고 생각을 해요.
So that is how Seong Woon came from an unlikely starting point and became a world-class cinematographer. And notice what he did not talk about: memorizing specification sheets or being told by a fully tattooed man shouting from a thumbnail that your perfectly functional camera has suddenly become obsolete. He talked about technique, observation, practice, correction, and never assuming that he had finished learning, because once the techniques are in place, the real craft becomes taste and judgment, knowing what belongs in the image, what does not, and why. Let me know in the comments what you took away from his story. So, as we saw, Seong Woon learned through old school mentorship, watching experienced people work, assisting them, making mistakes, and gradually being trusted with more responsibility. He still teaches people that way, but opportunities like that have become increasingly rare. That is the reason I created this channel and the missing manual training, to offer the next best thing without spending 10 years carrying someone else's light stands. But now, let's return to the camera challenge. Does angle A look worse because it came from the cheapest camera, or did we simply make a complete mess of the lighting? Let me show you what actually happened. Many of you identified angle A as one of the obvious EOS M shots. The highlights are harsher, the skin is less controlled, and the whole image looks cheaper. Case closed. Cheap camera exposed. Except what you are seeing is not primarily a camera limitation. It is a stack of lighting mistakes. Angles B and C were positioned more or less in front of the subjects, where the lighting had been designed to work. Had I put angle A somewhere around the same axis, we probably would not have had a serious problem, but I wanted a deeper composition, with one person sharp and the other out of focus in the foreground. In almost everything I shoot, I introduce one wildcard because it forces me to learn. Unfortunately, the wildcard is also usually the place where everything catches fire. This time was no exception. The key lights were relatively small. From the front, they worked reasonably well. From the side, they hit the contours of the face and created much harsher hotspots. I had anticipated some danger and deliberately underexposed angle A because we were shooting raw. The technical term for what happened next is not enough. We also committed the cardinal sin. We never recorded a proper test, loaded it onto a computer, and inspected it on a real screen. Seong Woon and I were essentially going,
"You know what you're doing."
"No."
"He knows what he's doing."
It was a beautifully democratic distribution of misplaced confidence. Everybody was excited, concentrating on the interview, and looking at tiny on-camera monitors that make almost everything appear vaguely acceptable. Had we checked one proper test clip, the problem would have been obvious. This was filmed during rainy season in a rehearsal room with limited air conditioning. Even with the AC running, the room was effectively a sauna, and after hours of setup, everybody's brain was slowly turning into soup, which is precisely when procedure matters. When concentration drops, you do not rely on somebody saying, "It'll probably be fine." You test and verify. Then one of the newer assistants apparently decided our first wild card was not ambitious enough and introduced a second one, this powerful tungsten practical in the background. It looked fine in the room. In post, it became a nightmare on top of a nightmare. The real problem was angle A. From that position, the tungsten source hit my face directly, while the daylight balance key came from the other side. So one half of my face was pushed toward pink and the other half toward orange. About the worst possible mixed lighting situation for a clean interview. Great if I were a rock star emerging from another dimension. Less useful when I am supposed to resemble a normal human being. What you are seeing here is already the repaired version. In the next episode, I will show you what it actually looked like before grading. The quickest fix would have been moving angle A closer to the front-facing positions. To preserve the side angle, we would have needed the larger diffusion frame, a stronger light behind it, and the tungsten practical dimmed or controlled so that it stayed out of my face. And if you think mistakes like this only happen on small productions, the same physics applies at every budget level. These films had vastly more expensive cameras, larger crews, and lighting budgets that could probably have purchased our entire studio. And even there, you can find blown highlights caused by harsh side lighting. A clipped forehead does not automatically reveal the camera. Sometimes it simply reveals that light remains light, even when Nicolas Cage is standing in front of it. So do you still think angle A is one of the EOS M shots, or has this changed your answer? Comment with your guess to enter the giveaway for a full seat in my missing manual training. And in part 3, Seong Woon gives us some of the deepest insights yet into how to actually arrive at A-level imagery. Spoiler alert, just as I keep saying on this channel, almost none of it has to do with the camera. Don't miss it.